We're going to call to order the October 19th, 2022 Poly and Trail Management Council meeting, and we'll rise and pay respects to the flag, and Vice Chair Brickfield, if you lead us into the invocation after the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, guide us through this meeting. Protect us during the November elections and guide it with your wisdom. In Lord's name, we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, Secretary McDowell, please call the roll.
Mr. Wakefield.
Here.
Mr. Thompson. Here. Ms. Steele. Aaron Watley.
Here.
Mr. Wright.
Here.
Mr. Noel.
Present.
Mike McDonald. Present. Allison Young. We have a quorum.
Okay, we'll continue on, and our next item is approval of our agenda. Any changes to the agenda?
I would make a motion we approve our agenda as written.
Second. Okay, motion by Vice Chair Redfield, second by Councilor Knoll to approve the agenda as presented. Councilor Secretary McDowell, do you have any?
Yeah, I missed Kevin Green. Oh, there he is.
Oh.
I sat here because when the other two board members come, there won't be enough seats.
I think you're fine. Okay. Pardon, it was just a point of procedure.
Okay, all right. Any further questions on the agenda? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Next is the consent agenda. Approval of the September 21, 2022 meeting minutes. Bills to be approved in the amount of $8,518.28 for September. Financial reports and trial manager report for October 2022. One comment I want to make on the bills, and Linda, you might be able to help out, is the bill we received from the Road Commission for Oakland County for the signals. Looking into the bills, when I looked at those, it looked like we're getting double charged from them. So I just wondered if there's any way you can make any contact to get a better explanation of the bill itself. When I looked at the bills, $1,423.37, and we're being charged, like, for example, on July 7th, we're charged one quantity cost of $64.51, and again at $64.49. And when you go down and look at the work order, the worker arrives at 17:30, which is 5:30 military time, and left at 1800 hours, which is 6 o'clock, which equates to half an hour. So I don't know what's going on, but I think it needs to be looked at. I don't know, it might be totally right. Then you can see on the other bills as well of the same situation. So it's a double billing the way it looks, but I think we need to just take a look at it later. So I don't know if you have a contact there. If you want me to contact somebody, I can do that as well.
I actually contacted them today, and I will contact them about the bills. I know they were out several times for that crossing lane at Berg. They thought it was the battery, they replaced the battery, it wasn't the battery. They replaced fuses, it wasn't the fuses, and they finally had to get a car fuse that they had to order, and they had to come out another time. So I will have them break down the bills a little bit further. We also are having a problem with crossing light at Drainer. There is a work order. They had to order a part, so they were waiting for the part to fix it. So.
Is light working again the way it should?
At Burdick? At Drainer? No.
No.
Because they had to order a part, and it should be in.
So it's not in yet?
It's not in.
Okay.
But it is working somewhat. It's just the end flashing lights.
All right. Yeah, I just want to bring that up to council because, you know, it's a pretty good chunk out of our budget, and just want to make sure that we're getting charged the right amount. You know, so.
I've got a question then. If there's a question on that bill, if we make the motion, do we make it contingent on the review of the bill and have it verified?
If that's council's pleasure, you could pull that bill out. But what happens though is that these bills are submitted a month before, so they're already run through probably the payables that you just approved and what's already been paid. You know, so I mean, this is a July service. So all those would...
Well, put it right, you've already asked trail manager to review it, so I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda. September 21st meeting minutes, the approval of the bills to be made for the total amount of $8,518.28, and receive and file the financial reports of September 22, and the trail manager's report.
Second that.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Brightfield, second by Councilor Knoll to approve the consent agenda. Any further questions, comments? If not, Secretary McDonald, can you please call the roll?
Okay, for approval of the consent agenda, it would be Brakefield,
Yes?
Pearson,
Yes.
Steele, my apologies, she's not absent. Watley,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
McDonald, yes.
Okay,
All in favor?
the motion carries. On the public comment, no public are present. We'll move on to citizen rep report. Kevin, any to report this month?
I don't have a report.
No report from Kevin, okay. Moving on, we'll go to unfinished business. First one is the Pollyant Trail Maintenance Agreement with David Vandenberg. Last month we approved for 7 days of mowing with an option for an eighth day at $1,600 a day. Since that meeting, in your packet is a recommended agreement to be approved. Mr. Vandenberg was sent a copy, and Trail Manager Moran indicated that he didn't have a problem with it. So it's good on his end, and it's good on our end. There's a motion in the packet to proceed, unless there's anything more that you want to add into the contract or take out of the contract. So we'll open the floor up for any comments from council. Anything that stands out that needs to be changed in that proposed agreement?
I'll make a motion to approve the brush cutting and mowing agreement between David Vandenberg and the Pollyant Trail Management Council as presented, and authorize the chair to sign the brush cutting mowing agreement on behalf of the Pollyant Management Council.
No second that.
Okay, motion by Councilor Watley, second by Vice Chair Brightfield to approve the brush cutting and mowing agreement between David Vandenberg and the Pollyant Trail Management Council as presented. Any further comments or questions? If not, I'll do a roll call. Secretary McDonald.
Okay, for motion on the Pollyant Trail Maintenance Agreement with David Vandenberg, Pearson,
Yes.
Watley,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
McDonald, yes. Brakefield,
Yes?
all in favor?
Okay, that motion carries as well. So we'll get a copy over to him, and I'll sign that as well, and probably have you witness it, Linda, for that purpose. Next up is the Koenig fence update. Linda, I'm going to hand this over to you, because you've been on top of this since we met with Koenig, and you give the council an update on where it stands.
All right, we met with Koenig, and we met with a couple of representatives from the Pollyant Trail Management Council. Bruce was there and Joe Fedor. Also, we had 2 representatives from the DNR. Went great. We had spread it all out. We knew exactly what we were talking about. We knew what we were talking about. The DNR basically that same day gave them a letter that said basically put the fence 5 feet from the traveled portion of the trail. Not great, but whatever. I subsequently worked with Koenig Materials, Jeff Wilson. We have pushed that back way beyond the DNR easement. We pushed it back 40 feet in most of the area. 1.1 or 2 miles of it has been pushed back, way back on Koenig's property. So we don't have to worry about maintenance. We don't have to deal with anything. Once the vegetation grows up, we're not even going to see that fence. We're not even going to know it's there. The only thing in question is the 0.5 miles of the area where we have a lot of valleys and ravines and re-entrance. We know that's going to be closer to the trail, and it probably will fall within that 5 feet from the travel portion of the trail. There's not a lot we can do with it. Their plan is to shore up the back side of that area to actually someday, in the near future, move that fence back further. And that was the agreement we hit upon. And it seems to be working great. We were out there 3 different times to start talking, just to make sure that the Pollyant Trail Management Council representative was happy. And they did a great job out there. They've been just stellar to work with. anything you want, they're telling you on the spot. So I think it's gonna work out great.
Yeah. Hi, Donnie.
Hi, guys. Sorry.
We're on item, was it 8B, Canning Materials Update.
Oh, man, my questions are in 5A and B and C, so. That's not good.
Well, you have comment period at the end. So, anything else council wants to bring up? Secretary McDowell?
We had indicated we'd like a map or a survey, or at least some type of description. Does this mean that we're not going to get that?
I don't believe so. Bruce, their final decision.
As far as the fence, before the little part where it's fall off right into the water there's no way of, if you go a little bit farther to the, I guess it would be the north, you'll be in the lake, okay? And it's, like I said, it's to our advantage to have that fence there because we probably should have had that there when we first opened the trail because it is a hazardous area and they're actually protecting our interests so somebody doesn't fall into that lake there. So whatever they can do temporarily, no matter what, whether we do a survey or not, there needs to be something there so people don't fall into the lake. And that should have been done much earlier than what it is. And if they're willing to pay for it, I'm pretty darn happy that they're doing it, okay? As far as the survey, they donated that trail to us, right, through their property.
Well, we did a land swap. It was a land swap.
Yeah, so, and the fence on the rest of it is, you can't even see it. So it's just that little narrow before you get to State Street there, where Koenig's gravel pit, and Curtis was out there with me, and I'm just happy as can be that they're doing it. So, I don't know if we really need a survey for that area. Even the DNR said it was to our advantage for them to put that fence up to protect our people on the trail. So, do you want them to have a survey on it?
I only bring it up because it was part of the direction of the council and when we discussed it. If we're going to not pursue it, I just wanted to make sure we had a good idea because it's been a real vacuum as far as where the trail actually is relative. But that's fine. I just want everybody to be aware that we won't be getting it if that's the case.
My recollection is that we were looking for them to provide a proposed location of it, provide a survey of it, and maybe that can be explored once the fence is in. They maybe want to give us a existing location type aerial photograph.
Mr. Chair, there was a little bit of uncertainty of where that was going to be, how long it was going to be, but from your standout meeting out at the site, it's pretty evident where it's going to be and things.
Yeah, they have no other place to put it. It's right on the edge there, and we should have had that protected a long time ago, and they're actually doing us a favor. And they're protecting their own liability too.
Yeah. Plus they actually pulled the fence farther back onto their property from what they proposed.
Is there going to be something written up on this, Linda?
I did ask Jeff, the new trails director. No, it's Tim.
Tim Novak.
Thank you. Tim Novak. I went great for a minute. Tim Novak was going to write up an agreement, kind of like outlining what was going on with it. I have not gotten anything back. I did talk to him last week. He said he would have something to us by meeting time, but again, we did not.
I guess my question is, how official is this going to be? Is it going to be written up and signed off by both parties and move on, or?
The DNR basically sent an email and basically said, put up your fence 5 feet from the traveled portion. And I didn't feel, and I took it upon myself, that was sufficient. So I went out and I worked with Koenig to get it pushed back further. So we don't really need an agreement because it's way beyond, except for that 0.5 miles. Except for that 0.5
If I
miles.
may add, the DNR had the ultimate say in this, okay? And Curtis was there, and basically they agreed that they even asked if there was a need for more paperwork or anything like that, and they said, no, just, we're happy with it, and so they had the ultimate say on it. And they saw the purpose and the need for it also.
Well, just a thought, thinking forward, would we be wise to put something in a package that had names and the best information we could gather from emails and tuck that away, so when we all go about our different lives and 10 years from now, if there's a question, would we be wise to do that?
That's what I did ask for Mr. Novak, if he could put something together like that, because basically this whole agreement was a handshake and an email from the head of trails and the DNR, which is kind of, I mean, it's fine. It was, but when we all go our separate ways and we do our 5-year master plan and we go to put in, resurface the trail, do we meet ASHTO standards? Is ASHTO going to require something from us in some sort of paper form? I don't know. So that's kind of like, we've got approval, we're working with the entity, and now I'm working with the DNR to get something in writing on the backside of it. So it's kind of like, we started at the end and now we're trying to bring it back to the beginning. So.
We could maybe prod Mr. Novak to maybe provide something based upon this dialogue here today, that maybe put something.
I think we'd be wise to have a little package tucked somewhere that we could put our hands on.
Or maybe you could just, you could type up a synopsis of the meeting of all who was present and what the synopsis was, and then send that to the DNR and ask them if they would either put a stamp on it or their name on it or something.
And in turn, we could put it in our own minutes, and then we have a tracking on it. Just an idea.
Yeah, no problem. And I did put it in my trail manager's report.
It sounds like we're all in agreement about the things. Is there a motion that I could make that we could move forward with it based on this right here? Just, it sounds like it's written right out for us in the form of a motion.
Yeah, make your motion.
Everybody's staring at her.
I will wait till I'm called.
Treasurer Steele.
Thank you.
I was waiting for your
I was
motion.
waiting to see how much she'd hold her hand
You
up.
know, my biggest concern is the actual easement and what you record at the county. And that's the thing that lasts beyond us forever. And so that's, do we even have, so that, to me, the survey gives you the easement that is recorded, and that's what's of record. Do we have that?
The easement, it is in our master plan.
The actual, the
Easement.
legal description?
Yes, is in our master plan.
With everybody agreeing that they allowed us to have this easement, like in writing, we hereby allow so-and-so to have.
When there was a land swap back in 97, I believe it was an actual description, actual easement description that is in our master plan of that 1.7 miles that Koenig owns, but the DNR has a non-revocable easement as long as the trail exists.
Okay, that would be my.
So once the trail goes away, Koenig can take that property back.
Councilor Watley.
Is the short section, is that within the easement?
The short section there, yeah, the DNR allowed them to just get as far over, because it's just erosion there, that just to go over far enough where they can put the post in, and they understand it is within the easement, the DNR
The
does.
one thing I would say is if we have some type of agreement or caveat saying in that if this property is ever sold to a development, it would revert back to the original easement and you could not encroach on it. That's the only thing I would say. Because if they have a fence there existing for 20 years, it could just be.
Well, they're not claiming the land. All they're saying is that this is where we're putting the fence post, because that's the only, otherwise it's basically out in the air, okay?
Well, I get that, but
You know, they're not claiming our land or anything, they're just saying,
but they're making the land unusable by putting a fence post. So if
well, there's no more land half. I mean,
I get that, but if they're developing the area and they decide to fill in that area to make it, they put homes and they want to make a green space and they want to fill it in a little bit to make a little, being able to come around the pond area. That's it. That's all I have to say.
I would, just to piggyback on what Aaron said, right now we're going through this on the Paint Creek Trail. Solaronics has usurped this much space with a fence, an old fence, and who's who is responsible for the fence is also a constant issue. When it deteriorates, who fixes the fence? Is it them? Do we know, have that been clarified? But that's one question. And then what happens with Solaronics is now they're going to tear down that old building, and we have written that we want to reclaim that portion that they have been using, that they've been paying licenses on, because that's what they're going to exactly do, is build houses where this old warehouse was, and we want to make sure that it's our land and not their land. And it was put in writing, so that was, yeah, that happens.
Trail Manager Moran.
I did ask Tim Novak to put that in writing, to actually clarify that. And he said he would, and we talked last week about it when I had talked to Koenig, and I, as of this meeting, have not received anything back from him. So I will contact him again. I will get the chairperson right, and we'll do a letter, basically spelling out exactly what our concerns are. And our big concern was maintenance of the fence, who owns it, who maintains it. And that's why they agreed to push it back way beyond the 25 feet on the north side easement. So that's not even an issue. They own it, it's on their property, it's off our easement. The only thing in question is that 0.5 miles, where it's going to be on the DNR Colonial Trail easement, their fence, you know, so.
So I say, do me a favor, if you have questions, just send me emails of your questions so that when Linda and I talk with Tim Novak, we can forward those on, so that would help out in the conversation. Vice Chair Brayfield, do you still need to make a motion?
No, I would like to wait and put this as old business because it sounds like there's
It's already on.
documentation. It's got to be, well, next month, because it sounds like we need documentation that's going to be written up by Kim Novak, stipulating where the maintenance of the fence is, specifics, and I think if I was about to make the motion to go ahead and approve it. However, I think I'm premature on the motion to approve it with that many questions still floating out there.
Would it be who of the council to at least make a motion to approve that the chair and the trails manager come to an agreement relatively soon? Because, I mean, we're running out of time. I'm sure they want to get this installed before winter for liability purposes or whatever it may be. So if we approve you to make the decision, just throwing it out there.
The fence will be starting next week.
Yeah, so.
Okay, I'll second Aaron's motion.
What is the motion?
Both the motions on the
The
table.
chair and the manager get together, work this thing out, and get all the
All right,
necessity stuff done, and it's,
Councilor Watley, make your motion, please.
oh, okay.
I would make a motion to authorize the chair and the trails manager to work with Koenig to come to an agreeable terms with language and where the fence should be on the easement, and authorize them to sign the contract to not delay the project. That sound okay?
Second. Okay, motion by Councilor Wiley, second by Councilor Knoll to approve the chair and trail manager to work with Koenig Materials for an agreement payable on the record. That's not the motion, that's the synopsis of it. Any further discussion on this? If not, let's do a roll call. Secretary McDonald.
Okay. This is in regards to a fence agreement for Koenig on or near the Pollyant Trail easement. Steele.
Yes.
Watley.
Yes.
Curtis Wright.
Yes.
Knoll.
Yes.
McDonald. Yes. Brakefield.
Yes?
Pearson.
Yes.
Okay. Motion carried.
Okay, the motion carries. Okay, moving on. Next one and last one is a vault restroom update. We've been working on this for over a year plus to get a vault restroom primarily at Way Station location, and Councilor Watley has been working diligently to get the process, keeping it going. So I'm going to give the floor over to Councilor Watley to give us an update where he's at. He's been working with OHM engineers to get a lot of the information compiled. So Councilor Wiley, the floor is yours.
Perfect. So I sent over some documents the other night. I apologize for delaying that. But, so we have OHM, our engineering service, work with G2, who is soil sampling and boring company. They gave us a price to do coring samples, soil samples at both locations. So the township will be paying for one sample at each location. So we're going to authorize that probably next week. So the Orion Township Board has set aside from ARPA funding, I think about $78,000 to do this project. I don't have revised pricing for the actual restrooms just yet. We're working on an RFP process for us, so we'll do a piggyback on this. The township will ultimately be purchasing it because it's coming out of the ARPA funds. It will go before the board that you like the design, location, all this good stuff that you'll approve it. But we're hoping to piggyback on that. So with that being said, I think we can probably get there roughly around 50 grand for it. Really will have to pull in some resources to do some site work to get it prepped. A few of the documents I sent through were from the Oakland County Health Department. It's not necessarily something we need to involve our engineers on. It's a relatively easy process that I feel pretty confident Linda and I, we could probably accomplish the paperwork and permitting in-house rather than spending money on an engineering service. So with all that being said, the $78,000 the board has set aside, we're going to do our due diligence and try to get it as cheap as possible, but a good quality product and covering all our bases. Whatever's left over from those funds will ultimately whatever's left from ARPA funding, if we're saving money, will go towards the resurfacing of the trail. So it's in our best interest to be very frugal and diligent on saving some money, and then whatever's left over will go towards resurfacing as well. So I'm optimistic to have an RFP completed, I would say 2 weeks, and then we'll probably take it out for bid. We'll get the proposals back, bring it back to the board, see if you like the design, location, all that stuff, and hopefully we can place an order before the end of the year. We're about 6 to 8 months out, so it wouldn't be for fall.
Councilor Pearson.
I just have a question. Do you know what kind of a facility that you're going to buy or where you're buying it at? The only reason I ask is the DNR, they put them in at the boat launch. They're wooden, and after a while they look junky. The ones I put in the park came out of Texas. They're a solid cement with stainless steel inside. They bring them in like 3 pieces, and they set them on. Mike was there with me when we dug the holes ourselves and everything, and they last forever. There's like 0 maintenance on them, and
There will be a precast. There will be
the precast cement, they come out of Texas. Okay, I was just gonna say, because the wood ones are great. Mike and I redid the one at the trailhead because it deteriorated. We put the new siding on it, but I will say that spend the money, and I did the good ones. And they're easy with the power sprayer. You wash the whole place down, and it comes right out. And there's no maintenance on the wood. So if you want some information on which ones we use, just get a hold of me, and I'll tell you where we got them from.
Absolutely.
Councilor Knoll.
There was a drawings and concepts floating around some time ago that captured all that.
Okay.
So I'm much in favor of the no maintenance.
Yes.
Yeah, because I have a hard time right now getting people to do the maintenance on them, but it's much easier. I've got them set up with a tank and a water, and they spray, they mop, and they're out of there. But nobody wanted to touch that. It was very hard to get somebody to do it, but this way it makes it much easier if you can hose it down. Because believe it or not, that's truck stop and the UPS and the FedEx stop, and we provide the restrooms for all of the delivery people, and sometimes they're not as neat. So you'll appreciate the wash down.
Now, we've authorized a $20,000 match. From what I'm hearing, is Arnie's going to foot the whole bill on this restroom here through ARPA?
I mean, that is essentially what the board has authorized to fund.
So if that's the case, this money could be used for milk run then?
For research, yeah, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
Whatever the board.
And then are the ARPA funds actually, are you able to use your ARPA funds outside of your community for like the soil borings?
That I'm waiting on an answer. So I spoke to Donnie about this and kind of asked her opinion. So ultimately, whatever money is not used from that pot will go ultimately back to the trail. So whether we use it on soil borings for this purpose, or we say, hey, the trail contribute, whatever's left over is ultimately going to go back to the trail.
Okay.
So that was a justification. I have a question in just to make sure that it's not going to create any legal issues. It sounds reasonable.
And we did our ARPA funds a little differently to where when you do an audit, so then we basically took the money out of our own bank to do projects, and we used all our ARPA funds for payroll. And then our audit has already been done and complete. We've completed, but we have set all these funds at the equivalent of what the ARPA funds were to do these projects. So it's not...
So you're in compliance?
Yeah, so yeah, that's a quick word to say everything I just said.
Trail Manager Moran.
I just have a quick footnote to all of this. We did have a fundraiser for White Sullivan, and that money was contributed to help that water depot become what we want it to become. I just don't want that money to get mixed in with other things. That money that they donated is earmarked specifically for water depot, just so everybody knows. Beautification, picnic tables, whatever. I mean, and they want that to be an ongoing event to help maintain that particular event.
Can you go over the numbers again, Aaron? The dollars for what we suspect the cost will be and what we put aside? Could you repeat that?
I think we put aside, I'd have to double check, $78,000 it was for water depot, whether it's vault toilets, paving. And I think we decided that the trail users, their biggest need was restrooms at that site, so that was our first priority. Our last quotes that we received were just north of $40,000, but site work and all that, I feel confident we could get around for 50.
So so can I just elaborate? So either way, so let's just say we have 78 set aside and we only spend 40 because we're going to use 20 from them and it was only 60, then we take the remainder and it goes towards the resurfacing.
Correct.
No way, yeah. So the less we spend on it, the better it is, because then we put it into the resurfacing project either way.
So you're planning to use the 20,000 match on this project then, from the Pauline Trail, or fund it totally through the ARPA? From my understanding in this conversation was going totally through ARPA funding with the 20,000 being allocated over to the milk run.
Yeah, I guess I would defer to Donnie, but my opinion would just be that we would fund it solely from this dedicated ARPA fund.
Okay.
And then that would allow some margin room for the trail to do some improvements. What's good for Orion is good for Oxford, is good for Leonard and Addison, and vice versa. What you do up here is beneficial to all of us. Where the money goes, it all works out for us all. So.
Right, so if we spend more money on the milk run, then we have less money to resurface either way. That's what we,
Secretary McDonald.
I just want to mention that when we set aside the 20,000, that was for a match to get towards the Ralph C. Wilson application, but I think it would, regardless of who matches us, the money, if it went towards this project, would basically achieve the same end effect. So it might be just a matter of making that official if and when the time comes to actually transfer the money.
Yes, and I think if we keep this as an agenda item going forward to completion, it'll just give us the status of where it's at, you know, the bidding of it, who's bidding it, how much is it going to be, when can it start, when can it be completed, and just see what happens and go from there. So, so if there's nothing further, Treasurer McDonald, Treasurer Steele.
And how much was from the Wade Sullivan? So it's like,
That was in 7,000.
okay, so that's not, okay.
I mean, it's considerable, and they want to make it more going forward.
How much was that?
7,000, somewhere around there.
And then didn't we apply for a vault toilet for a different grant on Lake George?
Yes, passport grant, we'll find out in November.
So there's always that possibility that we don't need to put any of that there, and then it all goes back into the trail on the surfacing.
Yeah, next month's meeting will prove to be a lot more detail on where we stand.
Yeah.
A passport grant will be finalized, whether we get it or not, and then we'll have better numbers, and then we can dissect the Wade Sullivan numbers and put it all in a nice sheet of paper and see where the money stands.
Well, further muddy the waters, there's also a Spark grant that has just become available that I'd like to apply for. Aaron's applying for it in Orion, but we can't if we don't get the passport grant at Lake George, we can apply for that possibly. Also, the community funding is back open. It opened here the first week in October for design, community designs with Ralph C. Wilson. We can apply for that for Milk Run. So it's still in play, but if we don't get the passport grant, we're just going to have to start doubling up.
But is that community application or Poly and Trail application?
It's community as far as I know.
In the community.
So it's going to have to be, so if Addison's already applied, that puts us out and start playing on our behalf.
Right. So has Edison applied for another design grant?
We do our best work at midnight, don't worry.
I know. But if we could get, $7,500 out of Roxy Wilson for design for Milk Run, then we could have that design and of course ample serving.
There's the paperwork that will apply for that for Addison Township, and then Mike and I are professionals at installing, because we have installed 2 of them at midnight. So.
All right. So there's a lot of work to be done here, number-wise and time frame-wise. So let's put our numbers together and forward them to the chair and or the manager, and we'll get this back on the agenda for November. And our meeting in November, Linda's on the 16th?
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay, so, yes.
I'm trying to put some of these numbers together and understand it. We originally want 2 vault toilets.
Correct.
We have Orion providing 78,000, up to 78,000 for one. We think it will come in at 50. That leaves us a leftover of 28. And then we have some other numbers that have floated around today at 7,000 here and there. Why don't we put a plan together to get the first toilet and then going, and then move forward for the second one?
Well, we already have a grant request in for Lake George. That passport grant is for that site. That's in the works right now. If we get that grant, then we have to put in a vault toilet at Lake George with the funding we've already allocated, and I think the $100,000 we asked for the passport grant. It's a little south of there.
So we're back to treating them individually.
They have to be treated individually. When we go for these grants, except for like the TAP grant, different things where Kristen Wilson is working on the overall resurfacing, each of these individual grants are entities unto themselves. So you have to have match for this entity, you have to have match for this entity. You can't mix and mingle on these grants.
Okay, nothing further, we move on to new business. Participation in the Oxford Chamber of Commerce Christmas Parade. That will be this year, December 3rd, 2022. Last year it was canceled because of the COVID pandemic situation, and also bigger than that was the incident in Oxford High School. So it's back this year, and it is $30, correct? Linda?
Yes.
Okay, all right, so I don't think there's much discussion. If council wants to move forward with this to participate, motion is in order to move forward. It is in your packet unless you have something else you want to move on.
May I just ask a question? Do we have anything planned to put in the parade? Is that?
Well, I have the gator, and I have some gnomes, and I have Christmas tree, and I have wrecked packages, and everything left over from last year.
I'll make a motion that we pay the $30 for the Christmas parade.
For the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes.
So I did eat all the candy I had.
Okay, motion by Councilor Pearson, second by Treasurer Steele, to participate in the Chamber of Commerce parade on December 3rd. For the Ashford Chamber of Commerce Christmas parade. Secretary McDonald, can you call the roll, please?
Okay, this is for $30 authorization for the Chamber of Commerce, Oxford. Light?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
McDonald, yes. Brakefield?
Yes.
Pearson?
Yes.
Steele?
Yes.
Watley?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, motion carries. Last item on under new business is website administrator. This was put on because of our lack of communication with our current vendor. That trail manager Moran has tried several times to get things put on the website, and she's been having a difficult time getting that accomplished. The times that she has been successful, it's been quite an expensive project to actually get the little things that she wants to be changed on the website. So I'm putting it out there for council to help us to get some direction, whether we stick with our current webmaster Piston Broke or whether we explore other avenues. I don't know people personally who is in this business, maybe somebody else does, that we could contact. But we have several items that need to be put on there. Our structure policies that we just approved, so people's aware of that. I didn't see any minutes on the website. And then I'll open this up to you. What other things would you like to see on it that aren't on there?
Well, first of all, we like to have the structural donations, events. I'd like to be able to post the events that are happening, whether we are putting them on or the community's putting them on. Our minutes, we're going to be ratifying where our meetings are going to be next year, the dates. Those really need to go on the website. It's just too expensive and hard to communicate with what we have. I did talk to Mr. Hoffman. He was going to send me some numbers. He has not. I've got to push on him more. I just got to push on these people. I also talked to Mr. Bernie and the Bernie agency. Again, he was going to send me some numbers. He has not. I just need to push on these people. So it's we just have to really.
Treasurer Steele.
So, we were at the meeting last night for the Paint Creek Trail. They are having the same issues. They're going to go out for RFP to go get a new website and have a new domain and start from scratch. And the prices that have been coming in are somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000. And there's just too much time that is being spent by the administration to try to do workarounds all the time. And I think IT Right, does IT Right do your website?
They do one.
Yeah, I think that might, it's not as fancy as like what we have at, what is it, Ease that we have? Revise, that was a really good one too. But at least you can always call and get somebody to talk to help you out on it. Yeah.
And I have had a community person contact me several times. They're willing to help us with our website for free. I know, but if they can teach us how to do it, my husband said he would do it. It's not like we spend $5 a month on the website, or we would even need to. There's several times a year where there's going to be more work than other times of the year. We just need something reliable where we can just make a call and just.
We have IT Right. I can put a call into their support and see their sales, see what that does. But yeah, if anybody else has anything to revise and look forward to mine and Linda's way, I can actually try to get this resolved if it's that big of a problem. I'll go with Vice Chair Brakefield and then Councilor Waller.
Is Oxford using IT Right now?
We are.
We are too?
Yes.
One thing great about IT Right Remember when you just said you tried contacting and never call you back? No, IT Right will call you right back.
Okay.
They're a people company, if you will. One-on-one, they're very, work with you very well, so.
And are they cost effective? I mean, the problem we were having, he would do 8 hours of work, it's almost $700.
We have a supervisor that will squeeze water out of a rock. You ask if they're cost effective. Enough said.
Yeah, okay.
Personally, the clerk of Oxford is much better.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm not an IT guy, but I know we have a few different web addresses and domains associated with ours. So it could be something, and I don't know if they can do this, but like if they piggyback on ours or Oxford or Addison, and we pay for the domain site, but they're linked into our website. And then now we have, like, we do our revisions in-house. We have access to it. But like we have Orion's Snowcation. It's a standalone website that they can type in and it directs them to a section, like a subdomain within our web page. And might be something to save money and to, I don't know if you have somebody in-house that makes changes to your website.
We do, and what we have is, we've got our main website, then we've got what's called external links.
Yeah.
And then it has like NODA, Pollywood Trail, Oxford Library. You can you can click on their website and it goes right to their information. So I don't know whether our web administrator that does the changes could actually make changes to the...
Well, it wouldn't be separate. It would be under your page, but it would just be like a,
It'd be hidden.
yeah, it'd be a drop down like, oh, it's in here, but if they ever clicked home, it would go back to Oxford Township page.
Yeah, I believe that's what this is. If you go to our website, you'd see that if you click on external links, you're going to get about 12 plus different community offerings that would give you that option. But I don't know if that would satisfy what we're looking for, but it's available for that. So I think with that, any information that can be provided would be appreciated. Helps Linda out, helps the trail out. So I'll still invite you, right? And Linda, you and I will work to try to see if we can bring something back to council next month. Anything further on website administrator? Okay, if not, we're going to open the floor up for public comment. Public comment, if you'd like to speak at this time.
If you want to speak on something, yeah, just go right up to the podium there and tell them who you are.
My name's Steve, this is Mary Johnson, my wife. We live on 4th Street in Leonard, about 4 houses south of Pollywood Trail on the west side of the road. In 2021, she got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which in turn affects her walking. And since we wanted to see, we got a golf cart, and I was seeing if there was any, I don't even know how to word it more or less, but to be able to maybe access the trail so she can kind of enjoy it, because her walking to her mailbox and back's about pushing it, and I didn't know if there was an option available for something like that from time to time or something, because it's kind of, she's pretty much stuck at home all day because she has it, twice in the last year, pretty much drove. So just wanted to see if there was an option available for something like that. And, obviously slow, driving slow and not wrecking nothing. We're not teenagers trying to destroy anything. So just more or less getting her out of the house and putzing around a little bit. I guess that's about it.
Okay, all right, thank you. We'll potentially take care of that during comments from the council.
Okay.
So I do have an idea, so we'll see how it works.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything further from public? Okay, if not, we will go to council member comments, and we do have special exception permits that we can authorize for that use. So I'm thinking that I just need to get your name again.
Steve Johnson.
Steve Johnson, for your wife?
Mary Johnson.
Mary Johnson?
Yes.
Okay. So with that, you want to use a golf cart on the trail, is that what it is?
Yeah, it's something that we can
From
enjoy
time to
it.
time.
Yeah, from time to time, not like a daily thing, but
Okay.
just occasionally.
Okay. So with that, council, what I'd like to do is entertain a motion to authorize a special exception permit for Mary Johnson.
So
for use
I'll
of the-
second it.
For use on the Pollyant Trail.
Make it in a second.
And I would suggest that we direct, part of that motion is to direct the trail manager to give them the proper authorization, like we do with Cody Pearson.
Yeah,
It's the
and
same
we,
exact situation for the use of a golf cart.
All right, so Secretary McDonald will stand up. I'll have you make the motion.
Okay, I'll make the motion to authorize the trail manager to issue a handicap permit for Mrs. Johnson and anybody on the cart, using the cart on the Pollyant Trail.
Can I just add one caveat? Could we make sure that they get stickers? Because our sticker has, kind of worn off, and for Cody, and people attack us on the trail because they yell at us, and we try to explain to them that, it's for disability only, and they don't understand that, but if we had the sticker, it helps a little bit, okay?
That won't be part of the motion, but let's make that the next motion, to get a better identification system, because it is true, sometimes people will say something because they think you're on the trail illegally, even though you are legal. So it's kind of a downside, but it doesn't happen often, but it does happen.
Yeah.
So that's my motion.
And I second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Secretary McDonald, second by Vice Chair Brakefield to approve a handicap permit for Mary Johnson on the trail. Any further discussion?
Annual. It's an annual.
Annual permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will have to renew it a year, every year.
Okay.
And it's just simply a matter of contacting the trail manager.
Okay. Fine.
Is that renewable based on the date of approval or calendar?
Well, mine is, Cody's is always approved in April, the beginning of spring, because of winter, we're not out there. But, if you want to do them individually, I guess
It's
it's,
too hard to track that. I would suggest you do April to April. And fortunately, someone's going to keep track of them.
Will that put a handicap on
There's
that?
only two, this will only be two, right?
There's only two, and I've only had one request for a Class 2 e-bike from a gentleman who had heart problems, so, and I gave him the permit card, so.
So you can look at it a couple ways. If they expire on December 31st, these could be put on the January or even the December council agenda to review Cody's and Mrs. Johnson's this time. That way you'd have a solid calendar year validity. Secretary McDonald.
What do you want me to do?
I thought you were thinking that you were...
We were trying to figure out, did we make a decision? Is it calendar or is it
You should do
issuance?
calendar like they do Oakland County passes, and you give them right now, and they're good through the whole year for us.
Okay.
It's really 1
Okay.
year and 1.5 months is the way that I
so
would do
they're
it.
all good starting January 1st to
Yes,
next January
yes.
1st is what you're saying.
And
Okay,
if you
so-
buy Oakland County passes, it's
So-
the same way.
Don't get mad, Curtis, I'm going to amend my motion to issue
That's fine, man.
issue a handicap pass to Mrs. Johnson, initiated upon issuance and renewable on the annual renewal date that the Pollyant Trail Council has established as December 31st of each year,
But this one is prorated to not...
to go a year and a few months.
Oh,
That way you won't have to,
no, that would be really nice with the 70-degree weather this
Yeah.
week.
That will go through the end of 2023 then, correct?
Yes.
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 We really need something on this in the next
I'll hold my
one.
second.
That's motion, that's motion.
Okay, are we gonna vote on that one? Or just...
We're gonna,
He's got to do his triple amendments. And
who made the second
I
amendment?
was talking.
Who seconded
I did.
it? Oh, you got to be,
One for Cody's is wearing off.
Okay. To Treasurer Steele's pleasure, we're going to vote on the amended motion first to approve the permit for the annual renewal date plus a month and a half. Actually, it's 2.5 months.
It's getting complicated now.
But anyway, all in favor of that amended motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Now the original motion to authorize the issuance of a handicap permit to Mrs. Johnson. Any further discussion?
Donnie got it.
No, he's already been, aye.
All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. All right, Linda, there's nothing to sign on this.
Just sign it.
Just sign it. Just sign, okay.
Just sign it. But the expiration date,
We want for Cody for you too.
yeah. And, under expiration of December 31st of 2023.
Well, cool.
Sounds cumbersome, but these always come back
Yeah.
to haunt you.
Permit number.
I think they're approving Cody's now annually too, but the only thing I was gonna say, do we have to make a motion? We need to get a bigger
Yeah, like a handicap logo?
with the
Right.
handicap, because we have just this little one, and and I don't mean to complain, but we've had people yell and scream at us, and I don't care what kind of permit you have, get that off the trail, and it would be nice to have.
I won't say that anymore.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, that's,
We're going to have to put Cody on another agenda because we only approve Mrs. Johnson on this one.
Cody's is good till April, so we're.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, no.
I'll make a motion to approve Cody.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion on the floor from Councilor Wiley, second by Councilor Knoll, to approve Cody Pearson's special permission permit for the Pollyant Trail.
We
Any
have,
further discussion?
nope.
What term?
No.
Same.
December 31st, 2023.
Okay, all right. To be effective until December 31, 2023. Trail Manager Moran.
Hey, is it okay if I go to like M&B Graphics and get like a logo?
No, that's not what we're talking about. Point of order.
That's correct. That's correct.
We're talking about the vote right now.
Let's do this.
Yeah. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, now,
Okay, now we're on to
stickers.
council comments.
She's been manager for a long time. Doesn't she know she can't?
As long as you get approval from the chair for
I think administratively, that's what we should do.
That's exactly right.
Personally.
Yep. Okay, let's go to council comments, starting with Councilor Pearson.
I have nothing.
Secretary McDonald.
Usually we're a little more organized, but as you can, with this topic, but as you can tell, we don't have a lot of experience. We've been fortunate to have low activity that way, so thanks for coming and asking, being patient. That's all I have.
Vice Chair Brightfield.
No comment. So, be careful. Be careful.
Councilor Knoll.
I have a couple comments. One, Linda, you brought up e-bikes. I think sometime in the future we need to discuss those. And the
E-bikes?
permission to be on the trail, if they have to have a trail permit or not.
Class 1 do not. We signed an agreement with DNR that basically says Class 1 e-bikes were in that program. They've stuff's gotten out of control.
And then the second thing is that I have a concern that we need to open up the box to talk about how we procure things with the trail. And I'm in favor of adopting one of the different municipals' procedure and maybe tailoring it to our need here at the Paulina Trail. We get a lot of information coming in about things working the trails. I think we need to tighten that up a little bit. A couple of years ago, we worked very much on the insurances, and things of that nature. And I think now we need to talk about our, how we're going to procure those insurances, or, I mean, procure those contractors. And the last thing is that I've been on the trail, and the colors are beautiful, so everybody get out and enjoy it.
Councilor Watley.
Kind of a piggyback off of Councilor Knoll's statements. I would be happy to work with Linda to work out some type of maintenance forecasting to help us with some budgeting purposes, is what we've talked before. And if we're doing trail cuts every 3 years or so, just to kind of eliminate the, oh, we need to do this last minute kind of stuff. But with that being said, trail looks great, colors look great. That's it.
Treasurer Steele.
Thanks for saying the prayer before the meeting. I always appreciate that. I think our trail is blessed, and blessing it every time we have a meeting, I think is appropriate, so thanks.
How do you know you said a prayer?
See, it's effective. I am distressed about the Oakland County bill. I'm sure you guys probably talked about that, so I want to hear the backlog on that one, about that. I'm ready to remove it. We just put signs or something. That I think that's extraordinary amount of money that we spent on the signal on Drake. You did? Yeah. So I want to hear the backlog on that. That was one. And then I'm confused on that chipper bill. So kind of to Noel's, trustee Noel's point, the chipper bill didn't quite match the motion, even though it was last bill, and the motion didn't quite match in the minutes what I thought we agreed on. So somebody needs to help me clarify that. But we won't, it's not appropriate now, so I apologize for being late. But I did want to say, if you live in Lake Orion, vote for Donnie. And I wish myself really well on this election, and I hope you guys do too. And if I win, I will be stepping down, probably at the end of December, and I will miss it dearly. So I just want to let you guys know that. And I do have a fundraiser tomorrow if you want to come and have some pizza. Johnny Black. So that was my public statement.
That was a nice commercial.
Chairman, I'd like to redo since I and I wanted to bring up.
I was just so glad you guys crashed because I took all your
sign. I did have that written down here to bring that up. The sign, do we have to use the road commission for that, or can we just use the company who sold it to us, or an electrician? Do we have to use a road commission? It seems to me like we're getting these large bills from them every time they come out, and that they're not just $200-300, they're thousands of dollars.
Yeah, so it's a good question. I don't know the answer to it, but they are in the road right away, the road commission.
Well, Mr. Johnson here is an electrician, okay? Maybe he could tell us if these signs have to, I mean, are they really that difficult that it's costing us thousands of dollars to...
what kind of sign?
They're the kind you push the button and then the flashers go on to cross the trail by the frosty balls.
Those are just battery, aren't they?
Yeah, we paid $300 for batteries.
It has a car fuse in it. That's what burned out on that one. After much testing, they found out it was a car fuse. That's what those things are built with.
That's what I'm saying, we paid $1,800, how much did we support? And the car fuse is 25 cents.
Yeah, oh, I know.
Yeah, we did point that out at the consent agenda, Treasurer Steele. Same concern that I had. So we're going to research that a little further on that. Back to Secretary McDonald. I see you had your hand up.
Sorry, this is comments. My understanding is that, and I remember when we had this discussion about the crossing signs, that the road commission insists that they maintain them because they are on their right of way. And we went through this when they were malfunctioning a couple years after they were installed. So it would have to be something done in conjunction with, or with the permission of the road commission if we do anything with those signs. They may allow us to hire someone but do they have a union there?
Well, let me ask
I mean, there might be an
let me ask you
objection.
this. Who takes care of the streetlights in the village of Oxford?
DPW.
Does the road commission bill them that kind of money for every time they come out for a street light, or is it just us?
Those are both maintained by the road commission for Oakland County, even the ones in the village, correct?
DPW does not do the lights.
And the village of Oxford ones, the beacon signal crossing, is the
Yes.
village of Oxford?
Yes, I'm pretty confident.
But they're an Act 51 community and they
Yes.
have control over their right of way as a village.
On Baldwin Road, Aaron takes care of the signs, even though they're the road commission, because we did the streetscapes and that was an agreement. So they did allow us to work in their road right away to fix their signs, and I know we could do them a lot cheaper than them. Florida has a manual one where you pick up the little crossing and you put it, you walk across with a big yield sign and you walk across and then you put it in the next thing in like a pole, a flagpole hole, and then they can go back and forth, and I bet that's $10, so.
Manual.
Maybe you and these two need to take care of the situation.
That's a smart idea.
All right, anybody else want to do over? So, okay, if not, is there anything further on the Carl Rubelman Memorial that was proposed last month?
Nothing.
Okay. Let's see here. So next month, we will be having budget amendments, and I think at that time, we can dissect this budget a little further, maybe looking forward on that. Treasurer Steele, to your comment for Mr. Brooks, he's going to get $350 each month for the cutting services, plus $55 an hour for 10 hours per month for cutting up to. So based upon when that was agreed on in September, you're going to have the max out of pocket for 2022 of $10,800, which would be $55 an hour for 40 hours for the 4 months at $2,200, $350 for 4 months is $1,400. That's $3,600 for 4 months. So I misspoke. It's $3,600 the rest of the year, but if you multiply that by 3, that's a whole year. So $10,800 potentially needs to be budgeted for his services for 2023, which we've already approved our budget. And then also for Mr. Vandenberg, that's $11,200. So to Councilor Watley's point, the monies are flowing out in a negative fashion, but you're getting the service in return. So we'll dissect that more in the November meeting amongst other items. So other than that, I think I'm pretty well set for now. We'll go to Rep. Green. Anything to report or comment?
Just one comment, maybe following up to Mr. Knowles' questions about e-bikes. I don't know if I don't think you were on the council at the time, but in 2018, we passed a e-bike policy that defines the different classes and that. So I don't know if you've been able to see that yet. And I don't even know if this is the most current update. But you might want us to take a look at it. I might answer some of your questions you had. I'll share that with you.
I'd just like to add that I have noticed an awful lot of seniors now riding the e-bikes in groups, and that's what our intention was. I see them on the trail, and the seniors are now able to ride, and they're actually riding in groups and enjoying themselves.
Yeah, and that was as several of us that were sitting on council remember that meeting pretty well. The attendance that was there, and that was the purpose of allowing bikes on that. Trail Manager Moran, I'll let you follow up and finish up.
About the flashing light, possibly when we address the resurfacing of the trail at those two particular road crossings, possibly we could redo our agreement with the road commission where we could maintain our own signal lights. Maybe that would be an option we could look into at the time when we do our resurfacing in that area. And just kind of mentioning that. And that's all I got.
Okay, with that, if there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn with that.
Make that motion to
At
adjourn.
4:09 p.m.
No second.
Okay, motion by Councilor Pearson, second by Vice Chair Brakefield to adjourn the meeting at 4:09 p.m. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You can adjourn. Thank you.